Hey guys, this is Jake with Cohesive Friendship Unit here with some exciting news today that Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition is coming to Switch. Before I jump into the content today, I wanted to give everyone a big thanks for all the subs and likes and comments that we've been getting recently. We've seen a huge wave of support from you guys recently, and it's been awesome for us here at CFU to see all of that. So please keep it up, and we'll keep turning out the great content for you. Now, on to the main part of this video. A quick little shout out today that Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition is coming to the Switch on July 2nd. And Red Faction Guerrilla, for those that don't know, was originally released on the Xbox 360. A remastered edition came out a couple months ago and landed on PC. And I picked it up back then, and it's been great on the PC. I also played the original OG title on the Xbox 360 and I loved it. It's one of my favorite titles for the Xbox 360 along with Oblivion, as many of you probably know already. But I want to cover a little bit about Red Faction Guerrilla in light of its release on the Switch, just so everyone knows, and what seems to be becoming a series at this point, why you should not sleep on Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition coming to the Switch. Alright, let's dive into a little bit about Red Faction. I'll get to the highlights of the title, and then some of the points where I think it falls short, primarily because of the age of the title. So, a little bit about the story. Red Faction Guerrilla, you play as a miner named Mason who travels to Mars. You eventually join up with a resistance to free Mars from the current ruling party, and you lead a guerrilla campaign there. So you spend most of your time in the game destroying military installations and buildings and other sorts of things on Mars, as well as running targeted guerrilla actions, raids, and that sort of thing. And you work your way from sector to sector across Mars until you finally reach the military stronghold, and you have your final battle there, and that's the game. Where does Red Faction really succeed? Some of the highlights that jump out for me are the destruction that the game shows. Even back on the Xbox 360, the destruction that they had in this game was pretty incredible. A lot of modern games have been bringing in destructible environments very recently. Probably the most notable for a lot of people is Battlefield's rather cinematic destruction scenes in their multiplayer maps. But if anyone's played those games, they know that those are really controlled to certain areas, and a lot of the buildings that you can destroy can only be destroyed to a certain point. There's usually always a shell that remains, whereas in Red Faction you can destroy quite literally everything on the map, which is pretty amazing, especially for something that was originally released on the Xbox 360. Well, it is getting remastered. That's really just a texture update and a couple other things, and the destruction really remains unchanged, and it's still one of the best systems that I've seen in any game, minus maybe some sandbox games which are really designed around building and destroying things. Another standout point of Red Faction Guerrilla is the combat, which it's nothing amazing, to be honest. It's pretty good arcadey fun, but it's not kind of a groundbreaking combat system, but it is a lot of fun, as I said. The weapons are compelling. There's a lot of interesting weapons to choose from, and the AI is decent. The environment's good. It's just a good combat system to go along with everything. Now, where does Red Faction Guerrilla kind of fall a little short? And as I said, primarily this is due to the age of the title, but I would say one of the main things that jump out to me is the driving is a little outdated. The whole system feels pretty floaty. You do have your kind of arcadey old school driving where you're pretty much always going forward, and you've got your stick, your handbrake, and that lets you slide around, and that's about all there is to it. But as I said, it's pretty floaty. I'm not sure if it was a design decision or just an artifact of being an older driving system, but your car tends to jump around a lot. There's a lot of hang time, and that can be a little frustrating on the map. especially since in Red Faction you do a lot of off-roading, so kind of feels like you're driving a car in a bouncy house a lot of the times, which is not the best. There are also a number of missions that primarily involve driving around, which can be frustrating on some of the higher difficulties, but if you play on normal, as I do most of the time, it's no problem at all, and the driving can actually be quite a bit of fun, especially when it comes to vehicle combat. Overall, Red Faction is definitely one of my favorite 360 games. As I've mentioned a couple times, there's definitely an arcadey feel to the game. It's not really a hard-hitting title. The realism isn't that strong, but there's a lot of fun to it. The progression is very good, so you collect a lot of your scrap from destroying cars, vehicles, and buildings, and you use that to progress throughout the game to get new equipment, new weapons, unlock new things. And as you kind of progress from sector to sector, liberating each one as you go, you unlock new parts of the story, new vehicles, and that sort of thing. So the progression is very satisfying. Destroying things is amazingly satisfying in this game. As I said, still a standout destruction engine they have. The combat's good, and the vehicles and the driving is decent enough. Especially on the normal difficulty and lower, it's not a problem, but once you try and crank up the difficulty, it tends to get a little frustrating to drive around. But overall, the title is very fantastic. I do not know what the price point is for Red Faction, but hopefully it releases in the $20 to $30 range, and that is a definite pickup in my opinion. The remastered edition is great. It runs very well. As I said, I played it on the original Xbox 360, so I don't have any concerns with it running on the Switch, since the hardware should be a little bit better than what was in the 360. And as I said, I've been playing it on the PC most recently, and it has been awesome. Runs well, and everything's great about the game. So I would definitely recommend you check out Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Mastered Edition, which is coming to the Switch on July 2nd, and let us know what you think about that. Also, drop us down in the comments any other Switch games you are looking forward to. Check out Chris's video about Dragon's Dogma, which recently released on the Switch. We have a pawn share video going on there, so check that out. Use his pawn. A lot of people have been dropping their pawn codes in the comments down below there. And let us know what you think. Let us know if you're going to be checking out Red Faction Guerrilla on the Switch. And as always, drop us a comment, a sub, or a like if you like the video or you like what we're doing. And as always, smoke 'em and you got 'em. See you in the next video, guys.